The New Mexico State Aggies have started their 2025 season off to a 2-0 start. Can they keep that momentum going? Find out next here on the College Huddle. And joining me here on the College Huddle this evening is Christian from the Bus Stop Podcast. Christian, welcome to the College Huddle, my friend.
Eric, man, thank you so much for having me a part of this. I'm excited to give the folks a little education about the team in Las Cruces at MSU and everything that we got going on down here.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, this is definitely going to be an educational piece for myself. Really diving into the G5 this year with all the great podcasts we have at the College Huddle, and dude, you're off to a good start, 2-0, man. Let's start right there. Tell everybody about yourself, about the podcast, what you do for NMSU, right? New Mexico State University, and kind of give everybody a rundown of how the season started off for you guys, man.
Yeah, Christian Moynad down here in El Paso, Texas, probably about 45 minutes away from NMSU. I work with EP Sports Network. That's where the podcast is underneath. We do a lot of live streaming of high school games here in El Paso, Texas. We do football, volleyball, basketball. We even do some college baseball with the community colleges down here. So we do a lot of live streaming, and we all kind of branch out into our own brand. Our boss, Mondo, has Puro Miners Bro that covers UTEP. So I went to NMSU. I met my wife there. We got married shortly after she graduated. So it's easy for me to kind of jump in and say, hey, we were covering UTEP, we're covering EPCC, which is a community college down here. I want to cover NMSU. So probably about 4 years ago when Coach Kill got here, because Doug Martin was the coach before, wasn't really too into NMSU. He was always complaining about a contract. He wouldn't represent the brand. And so it was kind of hard to cover them. Jerry Kill comes on and said, okay, it's a fresh start. People are new in that building. I'm going to put in for a credential. So it's been about 4 years that I've done it. Took a break briefly last year because I had a son. He's just turned 1. So kind of had to, by default, take a bit of a break from covering. But 4 years being in the press box, watching this team sort of develop, watching basketball a little bit as well, and trying to get into some baseball just to kind of bring a full coverage for NMSU. There's not too many podcasts down here that do that. And we just brought on Isaiah Reed, who was a former player at NMSU during Jerry Kill's time. He's my new co-host. We just had an episode last week, so we'll drop one again probably on Wednesday. And he brings a lot of incredible insight. And we look forward to kind of building the brand around NMSU and kind of lifting them up as the team does really good. You said, they started off 2-0 and it was shaky. Week 1, 19.5 point favorite, only winning by 16, and that score kind of throws you off a little bit. They were up 9-3 for most of that game against a FCS school, so they should have done more. Defensively, though, for them, that's their strong suit. They only gave up 3 points to Bryant. They only give up 14 to Tulsa on Saturday, and Tulsa put up 500 yards and 35 points the week before to Abilene Christian. So you kind of see that their defense is being the strong point. Their offense had to switch. Their line is not great. Coach Sanchez knows they're not great. He's mentioned it in press conferences already that the line has to get going. There's no running game at the moment. So they switched a lot of quick passes. They just cuts, slants, curls, anything to get the ball out under 3 seconds. That's what helped them victorious over Tulsa. Haven't been 2-0 since 2014, so 11 years back. Haven't been 3-0 since 1999. So there's an opportunity there for them to kind of chase history with Coach Sanchez, who played here in the 80s as a wide receiver. So he's passionate about making NMSU better, and we'll see in year 2 for him if he can, do better than 3-9. Right now, Eric, he's already off to a good start at 2-0.
Yeah. Let me say this. We're tickled pink to have the Bus Stop podcast in the College Huddle. We're going to circle back to this. Remind me, we'll circle back to the name of the podcast. But it's always good to have people that Of course, you brought up Keel. We everybody knows him and everything. But your current coach, Tony Sanchez, I know him from Bishop Gorman. is
Right.
how I know him. He was a famous football coach in Las Vegas, Nevada, on there with Bishop Gorman, where he went 85-5 at his time there at Bishop Gorman, winning 6 national championships or 6 state championships there. With Bishop Gorman. Then he went to UNLV, and everybody thought that transition was going to be a good one for both UNLV and himself. After 5 years going 20-40, not ever even getting to a bowl game, it obviously didn't work out for him. But like you said, he's circled back around. He's back at New Mexico State now, and this is a guy who knows ball. He knows how to coach football. He's been successful at a very successful high school program. Tell us more about him. You've gotten obviously to speak to him. You've gotten to know him a little bit. Kind of what's the culture of the program that he's building there with the Aggies?
It's not. There wasn't too much to change, right? Coach Kill kind of set a foundation a little bit, and Coach Kill recommended to the department to hire him as the next coach. So they didn't interim him; they transitioned right away to him. And that's because Coach Kill and Coach Sanchez were pretty much doing everything kind of like a mentor ship between Kill and Sanchez. Going back on it, they were always kind of walking together. Sanchez was always doing the social media part. So it just made sense. And I think the foundation, the culture is sort of like how it was with Kill. It's very intense, very nonsense. We're going to work hard. We're going to, embrace the underdog mentality. We're going to take pride in our brand. We're going to take pride in building things up. But he's also a guy that relates really well to the players. Every player that I've talked to, former and current, they always say the same thing. They love him. He's a great recruiter. He's a great person that cares about each and every one that's on the field. Yes, he's intense, but Coach Kill was intense too. Coach Kill would yell at people and get into their faces, and he's no different. He's the same intensity, and it doesn't come from a place of being mean or vulgar. He just really cares about this brand, and he protects his guys. And so he's gone to the administration after last year. 3-9, you would think a coach doesn't have too much to say, right? They can't say much to the administration, but he said, hey, we need new facilities. We need to feed these guys differently. We need new weight programs. We need better coaching. We need more accessibility. And they gave him that. They're about to move into a new facility sometime in the 2-week break. After this week, they go to Louisiana Tech, and then they will move in, and it's a new weight room, new film room, new everything. It's something that New Mexico State hasn't had. And so you can see his passion and how he wants this program to take off. UNLV at that time, Eric, I'll be honest with you, they weren't taking football too serious. They weren't really investing into the program. They just kind of figured, hey, if this guy can win in high school, maybe he can do something for us here. Here are the keys to the car. Let us know if you need anything. And so I think for him being his first stint, and for UNLV, it just wasn't the right timing, even though it made all the sense in the world. But I think now the administration is backing him, and you can see it. The players love him. Isaiah, who's my new co-host, he raves about him. And even the SID on Saturday said, hey, we listened to the podcast. Coach Sanchez loves Reed. We'll probably do something here in the future where Coach Sanchez sits down with you. So that just speaks to the relationships that he has with his former players. And so there's something to be had here. People are really tough on him and critical of him. But I think given the resources that have been given to him now, that there's something that he can build. I haven't seen too many guys hit the portal. Even some guys hit the portal on his first year. When Kill left, a bunch of guys left. Some of them came back this year. Some of them on the defensive line and offensive side of the ball decided to come back and be under Coach Sanchez. So I think that speaks the world to him. He spoke about the portal today in his press conference, and he said that there has to be some sort of structure. As you know and I know and everybody else knows, it's the Wild Wild West. But he said, I'm not against the guy going and getting his money. It's just kind of weird to see them play spring ball with me and then turn on watch some games before ours, and I see the kid making a tackle or catching a pass, but I'm not mad at him. So he knows what it's like, and he's very understanding, but he's a player's guy. He's not too much on either side. He even said in his press conference, his coach is coach. They call the plays. He gives his opinions. He gives his adjustments, but he lets his coaches do his thing. You would think with an offensive mind, he'd be, as you see now in this day and age, the head coach calling plays or being micromanaging of that. I'll tell you what, he's not doing any of that. Yost is up here in the press box to my left, and he's calling everything, and Sanchez is not really saying much. So he's allowing his coaches to kind of develop, and it seems very exciting for now. But I think most people in Las Cruces and around are cautiously optimistic after going 2-0.
So let's talk a little bit about the upcoming schedule. The 2-0 start is good.
Mm-hmm.
It's impressive. Like you said, going 3-0 for the first time in a long time would be obviously key. What were the expectations for this team going into this season?
I think for me, I said their ceiling would be about 5 to 7 wins. Just looking at their schedule, their floor would have to be 4. He had to show some sort of improvement from 3-9. And so I think a lot of people were turned off just because there was such a drop. Kill gets you 10 and a New Mexico bowl invite, then you go 3-9. But we have to be honest with ourselves. When Kill left, it put him in a tough spot. A lot of people followed Kill to Vanderbilt. Some other guys went elsewhere and followed Nate Dowling to Utah State. So what did you expect Sanchez to pull in not a full year? I think now looking at his recruitment, he's a 5 to 7 win guy, and I still stand by that at the moment. If they, now with 2 wins, you're trying to get to 6, right? You're trying to get to 4. There's 4 wins left on the schedule, or 4 close games where they could come out with a win. They could split 4-3 with the next 7 opponents, I think is favorable. And they could probably go to a bowl and everybody will be happy and the recruitment will be on the up and up. But they're right around 5 to 7. And really it just depends on the offensive line because it's been such a weak point at this time. And the left tackle just got announced that he's out for the rest of the season. So if it wasn't already struggling, right now they're going to have to play some musical chairs and it might continue to struggle.
Where are those 4 wins at if you had to make a guesstimation?
Sam Houston would be one. La Tech, I know they're minus 7.5 right now. That might be another one. Missouri State is another one. Kennesaw State. So those are the 4, I think, right now. Liberty last year, New Mexico State had them for 3.5 quarters. I think now Liberty's taken a step down, to be honest with you. So there might be an opportunity there. So those are 5. UTEP, depending on how UTEP, the rivalry games are so hard to guess by. UNM's another one that's kind of hard to guess by, but those are really 6 or 7, games that I've named that could go either way that are 50-50 at the moment.
You brought up the rivalry games. Educate me on those. Do they have any names, or is there anything unique about them? I'd love to learn more.
So UTEP down here in El Paso, where I'm at, and UNM, and NMSU, they share a road. They share the I-10 freeway, so it's called the I-10 rivalry. It's interesting. A lot of kids from El Paso go up to Las Cruces to, quote unquote, have a little bit of freedom because they're 45 minutes away from home and nobody's really checking on them. And kids from Las Cruces come down to El Paso, so on and so forth. The communities are tight. There's a lot of commuters that go in between the cities, but there's just some hatred between UTEP and NMSU. It's kind of like big brother, little brother, if you will. There's a bit of respect, but since it's so easy and accessible to go up and down, you'll see a lot of UTEP people in Las Cruces. You'll see a lot of Las Cruces people down here in El Paso for those games, and they've been extremely volatile. They share a shovel. It's a shovel, just kind of a toy on Aggies being the agricultural mascot, and the pickaxe of the miners. They share the shovel, so that goes back and forth. And then UNM, obviously, it's the 2 D1 colleges in New Mexico. It's the Battle of I-25. They share that freeway, and that's more hatred, I think, than UTEP and NMSU. That is just pure bad blood. There's going to be fights in the stands. To get, there was a fight a few years ago with the basketball programs. They actually threw punches in Las Cruces. That resulted in NMSU going to ground zero. There was a shooting right after COVID where a student died on UNM campus.
My goodness.
Because of the fight down here during the rivalry game. So it gets real dark. I'll tell you what, UNM and NMSU, they do not mince words. They will go blood for blood in a negative way. So that was a little tough. It's hard to have my wife and her friends go to those games because you don't know who you're going to run into. But a UTEP at MSU game, we're more than happy to sit next to a UTEP fan. So that kind of shows you the differences between the two rivalries.
Oh man, that's incredibly interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I'm a Ohio State fan,
Right.
so we understand rivalries pretty well here.
I
But
know you won't say the M word, and I
that's
won't bring it
right.
up.
We don't. It's a swear word in the state that I live in. But I did not know that about New Mexico University of New Mexico State University. That is wild, dude.
Yeah,
Wild.
they suspended playing basketball just because of the results. The entire backstory is just that the basketball teams got into a fight here in Cruces in the stands. They go up to play UNM in basketball. They set up one of the players to kind of bait him to go outside the hotel. He defends himself. It becomes a non-case after that. It becomes self-defense. It goes to trial for a bit. It gets kind of nasty. The head coach is helping hide the gun. They tried to get out of Albuquerque before the cops got to him. Troopers pulled him back. It was a whole drama. So the program ends up being suspended. Probably about 3 years back, the program just kind of they stopped playing games for that season. They fired the coach. It's an absolute mess. It's his first year as the head coach. It's after Chris Jans, who's at Mississippi State now. So that speaks to how dangerous it can get. They completely suspended it. They just brought back last year playing basketball games, and they only agreed to no home and homes, don't play twice a year. You just play once. That way nothing spills over. And the rivalry, as far as football goes, is in jeopardy at the moment, just because of the tension. It's definitely an interesting rivalry where it's dangerous. It's dangerous to be in the stands. Wrong place, wrong time, and I'm not sure if there's anything quite like that anywhere else.
No, not that I'm aware of. That is wild, man. That's crazy. So you guys are currently in Conference USA.
Yes.
Talk to me about that. I mean, are you guys entrenched? Hey, we're good. There's no talks of leaving Conference USA, and maybe kind of give me your overall feelings of conference realignment. It seems like there's a lot of teams down in that area of the country that are just jumping around everywhere they can find a landing spot and get a television deal.
Yeah, the more the Pac-12 kind of fell apart, you kind of knew that there would be something happening, and so there was a chance that NMSU goes to the Pac-12. It really came down to budgeting. The Pac-12, excuse me, not the Pac-12, the Mountain West. The Mountain West comes knocking. They ask UTEP to go. People are wondering, are they going to ask NMSU because it only makes sense. UNM is in that conference. Colorado's, the Nevadas. It makes sense. It's a regional thing. Geographic makes a ton of sense for fans to commute. It really comes down to budget. The Mountain West says, hey, you need to spend X amount on your athletics per year in order to maintain up to our standards, in order to maintain the facilities and things of that nature. And MSU doesn't spend anywhere near it. According to what I heard, it was 10 to 15 million short of the billing. So they say, no, we can't afford that. We'll stay in the Conference USA, even though we'll have to travel a lot further. It's going to be harder for our fans to get there. $15 million a year is just not doable. And so UTEP kind of says, we'll ask our boosters for some help and we'll commit to paying the exit fees. And so they get the help they need. I think they're still a little short, but it came to a number that made sense for the Mountain West to still say yes. With all the realignment, though, NMSU sits in a limbo. And it depends on who you ask, Eric. Some fans say they need to get out of it. Some fans are just saying they're more than grateful to be part of something. You got to remember, NMSU was an independent for a very long time, even up until before Coach Kill was here. And it was a stipulation of Coach Kill. He said, you have to get into a conference or I'm not coming down there. So they were independent up until 4 years ago. So it kind of paints the picture that we're happy to be a part of something. They're happy to be a part of a conference, no matter how it realigns, no matter who they have to call up from FCS. They just called up Missouri State and Delaware, and they'll continue to do that. It's Conference USA's MO. They won't try to poach anybody. They'll just call up FCS teams that are quote unquote deemed ready. You saw Missouri State beat Marshall by 1. So, are they deemed ready? Yeah, they can be. I think for now, they're in a good spot. No matter what happens realignment wise, it's a mess. I don't know, Eric. My opinion is that we won't have conferences soon.
Okay.
Just because of how things are working. I'd imagine TV deals are going to just kind of divide the country into quarters and say, we'll play it this way. We'll have the 4 divisions or 16 divisions. I think they'll try to mimic what the NFL does in some sort. And I also think they're going to break it down to where the Power 4 is separate from the rest of the G5. I think that we're heading somewhere with, just because of money, that they're going to try to split this up somehow. It doesn't make sense how Stanford's part of the Big Ten. It really doesn't. So I know that, I don't know when that comes, but I don't anticipate conferences lasting past 2030, to be honest with you.
It's interesting. Yeah. Stanford and Cal, when they joined the ACC, I was kind of like, wow. That one was, I felt like the ACC's attempt to try to continue to stay relevant with the Big 12 and the Big 10 and the SEC. I'm of the opinion, Christian, that we're going to have the big 2, the Big 10 and the SEC, and the Big 12 will kind of be the next tier down. Mm-hmm. And then I think the ACC is the next one to go of the way of the Pac-12, meaning they're going to divide up the ACC into those big 3 conferences, and what's left over will then start to pluck from the Sun Belt.
Yeah.
And you're going to have the Pac-12 and the ACC still being a conference, but they're going to be no different than Conference USA, the American, the Mountain West. Like they're all going to be at that point tier 3. So it'll be very interesting to see how the postseason, happens from that. I would love to throw this idea at you. This is one of the ideas I have that I've been floating out there, everybody, and that is that bowl season doesn't happen anymore, and it gets pushed to week 0. Meaning if you earned a bowl, you go to your bowl in week 0 the next year. That way you don't have players opting out and players leaving with coaches and destroying and ruining and spoiling the bowl. But it actually becomes a part of a celebration of college football being back in week 0. And you get that extra game to start your season. We're already playing 15, 16 games if you make it through the tournament at the end of the year, the playoffs. And so why not add another extra game for the regular season? That's my idea. Your thoughts?
I like that idea just because the transfer portal of where it is at that time, so many people opt out, they bounce, and then your team doesn't even look remotely close to what it was. And it could provide as an incentive, if you will, to maybe staying with that team, right? Like, hey, next year we're going to the Bahama Bowl, so maybe I want to hang around a little bit. I think it works just because where do you put the transfer portal? People tend to forget that these students, that they're students, right? That they have to transfer over, get involved at a new school, and they can't do it come February. They can't do it in March. They got to do it in that time period where class is not in session. So I like that idea, just maybe having the playoffs at that time, because to be honest with you, not a lot of kids are opting out when it comes to the CFP. Maybe 1 or 2, but it's very rare. They kind of want to play for a national title. So I like that idea. It keeps the bowls relevant, and it's better weather too in August. I know it might be hotter and humid, but at least it won't be, weather storms of snow and cold. Yeah. And so maybe that makes more sense.
It opens up the North to bowl season too. Yeah. Maybe your Pop-Tarts Bowl says, you know what, we're going to play in Manhattan, New York City, baby, or Boston or wherever, like Anchorage, Alaska. It's a nice 55 degrees come August. So I don't know, like it just changes the whole dynamic of bowl season. But I'm a traditionalist. I don't want to see bowl season go by the wayside. And it sure feels like that's the direction we're heading. As we continue to go through these things. All right, Christian, let's circle back to you personally in the podcast. Where did the Bus Stop podcast name come from? I love it.
Man, it's such a Okay, so I'm a big time Steeler fan.
Oh, okay.
I'm a big Steeler fan, and back in the day, probably in 2004, 2005, my dad takes me up to Pittsburgh for the first time, and I'm a big Jerome Bettis guy, and so we buy a Jerome Bettis jersey, and I'll tell you what, every time I could at school, I'd bring that jersey with me. When we had free dress day, I'd wear the Jerome Bettis. And so people just started calling me the bus. And in middle school, uh, on the goal line, I'd go from left guard to fullback and fullback into the end zone. And so it kind of just stuck with me to high school. I get kind of weird talking about it, but Aaron Jones, who plays for the Vikings, he plays tonight. That was our running back in high school.
Cool.
So he was always calling me the bus, and his dad, may he rest in peace, was a big fan too. So that stuck around, and that name kind of went away. You graduate, the nickname from high school doesn't stick around. But my lineman coach, Coach Pry, who's a coach at Coronado High School down here, as we live stream games, we go down to talk to him on the field, and he's like, "Hey, Bus, turn around, Bus, what's going on?" And all the guys at work are like, "Why is he calling you that?" So he gives them the backstory. So now everybody is calling me the bus. And so when I'm thinking of a podcast, I'm just like, we're going to call it the bus stop, because I'm going to park, quote unquote, and I'm going to talk a little bit about sports. And so that's how the name rolled into it, just because I couldn't avoid the name anymore. Once Coach Pry outed me a few years ago, that's kind of been my name at EP Sports Network, if you will.
Excellent. I love that. That's a great story, man. That's a great story. Christian, tell everybody where they can follow you, find you, and maybe there's a New Mexico State fan who just hopped on this, found this podcast, and they're like, dude, I got to find this guy.
Yeah, go to epsportsnetwork.com. You'll find all the coverage that I do. Find me on X and on Instagram. Bus on EPSN is my name. We do shows weekly. I go to every NMSU game in Las Cruces. I bring the press conference snippets at the end, give you coverage as much as I can from basketball, football, and I'll even dabble into baseball, because they got some good baseball teams down here as well. And see everything that we do. If you're local or trying to stay local to El Paso and Las Cruces, and you're away from home, look us up. We give you all the sports coverage of even high school sports that are going on, from wrestling, basketball, baseball, all the major ones. So if you need to find a way to get attached to home, that's where you can find us.
If that all else fails, go to thecollegehuddle.com, head over to the Conference USA, scroll down to New Mexico State. There you'll find it, the Bus Stop Podcast, his links to his Twitter, his website, and the YouTube channel are all right there for everybody. So make sure you go check that out. Christian, thank you so much for joining us for this episode, and good luck to the rest of the year, man. I hope you guys get to that ceiling that you were talking about. That'd be great.
Hey, Eric, thanks for having me on, man. I know it's been a while that we've been trying to do this, but I appreciate you bringing me on so we could talk a little bit about it. And hopefully they go to a bowl, because I like road trips, man. So we'll see if they can do something this year.
Sounds good. All right, everybody. Hey, one final thing. If I were to go to a Aggies game and I wanted to fit in with the locals, what's the chant? What's the hand signal? Something I would need to know in case I were to get there, so I wouldn't stick out like a sore thumb.
Man, there's not too much, but get a cowbell. They say.
Are you guys cowbell people like Mississippi State? Oh, Lord.
They have the more cowbell from Saturday Night Live on third downs. They play that on the Jumbotron, and people just go nuts. Right here, a little bit wrong way. There's the theme song. That is a song that goes to the band. That is what people sing. It talks about drinking booze. So, I mean, if you love beer, you'll fit right in. That's just the way to do it.
More cowbell. There it is, everybody. Gotta get me an Aggies cowbell if I'm going to go to New Mexico State football game, dude. Thank you so much, Christian. I appreciate you, man. Have a good rest of the year. Go Aggies.
Thanks, man. Go Aggies.